Zari gazed at the human woman with wide silver eyes, her skin flushing a deeper shade of purple. She could not believe what she had just heard. "You picked me, but my species bonds forever," Zari said, her voice barely above a whisper. The translator, pinned to her collar, flickered with blue light as it converted her melodic language to English. Kate Morgan stood confidently before the alien woman, her red hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. She wore the standard blue uniform of the Earth, Space Diplomatic Corps, with the silver pins that marked her as a cultural liaison. "I understand what that means, Zari. And I still choose you for this mission," Kate said. She had reviewed all the files about the Lyraxians. Their bonding process was legendary among xenobiologists. Once they connected with another being, it was permanent. Their neural pathways literally rewired to create a lifelong link. Zari shifted nervously, her delicate antennae twitching with emotion. She had come to Earth, Space Station Horizon, as part of the first cultural exchange program between humans and her people. The Lyraxians were new to the galactic community, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 15 years ago. But why me? There are 5 other Lyraxians on this station, all with more experience, Zari asked. She had only been assigned to the station for 3 months, while others had been there for over a year. Kate smiled. "Because you understand humans better than the others. You ask questions. You watch our movies. You even tried ice cream despite knowing it would turn your tongue blue for a week." Zari touched her lips, remembering the strange cold sweetness and the embarrassment of walking around with a bright blue tongue for days afterward. The memory made her smile. "The mission is simple," Kate continued. "We need someone to accompany me to the planetary conference on Centauri Prime. There are 17 species attending, and humans need to make a good impression. The Centaurians, specifically, requested we bring a non-human ally to show our commitment to galactic cooperation." Zari knew that was not the whole story. Centauri Prime was known for its political complexities. The upcoming conference would determine trade routes for the next 50 years. Earth desperately needed access to those routes to continue its expansion. "It is not simple," Zari replied. "If I accompany you as your chosen partner, even in a diplomatic sense, my biology will begin the bonding process. My people do not have casual connections. When we choose someone, we choose for life." Kate stepped closer. Her eyes were a shade of green that reminded Zari of the sacred forests on her homeworld. "I know. And I respect that. Which is why I want to be completely honest with you. This mission is dangerous. The Drazak delegation will be there." Zari felt a shiver run through her 4 arms. The Drazak were legendary mercenaries with exoskeletons that could withstand most weapons. They were known for their brutality and their hatred of emerging species like the Lyraxians. They considered new spacefaring races to be unworthy of galactic resources. "They have threatened both our peoples," Kate said. "Intelligence suggests they may attempt to disrupt the conference, maybe even attack the delegates. They do not want Earth or Lyrax to have access to the trade routes." "And you think my presence will help?" Zari asked. Kate nodded. "Lyraxians have abilities, humans do not. Your species can sense, emotional states detect, lies, and in some cases even predict immediate future actions. These are skills that could keep us alive if things go wrong." Zari understood now. This was not just a diplomatic mission. It was potentially a dangerous one. And yet this human woman had chosen her, knowing what it meant to a Lyraxian to form such a bond. "If we survive this mission, what happens after?" Zari asked, her lower arms folding across her abdomen in a gesture of vulnerability. Kate took a deep breath. "I cannot promise what the future holds, but I can promise you this. I do not make this request lightly. I have studied your culture. I know what bonding means, and I would not ask if I did not believe we could find a way forward together, whatever form that takes." Zari stared at the human woman. She had never expected to bond with someone outside her species. It was rare, even among her own kind, to form such connections so young. She was only 26 cycles, barely an adult by Lyraxian standards. And yet there was something about Kate Morgan Something in the way she spoke directly and honestly. Something in the way she had taken the time to learn Laraxian customs. Something in her green eyes that spoke of depths and possibilities. "The ship leaves tomorrow," Kate said. "You have until then to decide." Zari nodded, feeling the weight of the decision. She watched as Kate left her quarters, the door sliding shut behind her. That night Zari could not sleep. Her forearms restlessly arranged and rearranged the crystals. She kept on her bedside table artifacts from home that helped center her thoughts. She thought of her family back on Lyrax, how they would react to her bonding with a human. She thought of the dangerous mission ahead. She thought of Kate Morgan with her red hair and green eyes and direct manner of speaking. By morning Zari had made her decision. Kate was waiting at the docking bay when Zari arrived carrying a single bag. Her purple skin glowed slightly, a Lyraxian sign of determination. "I will accompany you," Zari said. "Not just for the mission, but because something tells me this bond may be meant to be even across species, even across stars." Kate smiled and extended her hand, a human gesture of agreement. Zari reached out with her upper right hand, the one closest to her heart, and took it. "The ship is called the Intrepid," Kate said as they walked toward the sleek vessel. "It has the latest cloaking technology and defensive systems. Plus the captain is one of the best Lily Chen has been flying for 20 years. As they boarded the ship, Zari felt a strange sensation in her chest. It was the beginning of the bonding process, her biology already responding to her choice. But mixed with it was something else. Something humans called excitement or perhaps hope. The Intrepid hummed beneath their feet as they made their way to their quarters. Captain Chen greeted them briefly before returning to the bridge. They would reach Centauri Prime in 3 days. Time enough for Kate to brief Zari on all the delegates and potential threats. Time enough for Zari to prepare herself for whatever lay ahead as the ship lifted off from Space Station Horizon. Zari looked out the viewport at Earth, growing smaller below them, the blue and green planet that had produced these strange, fascinating humans, these beings who dared to reach across the stars to make connections with species so different from themselves. "Are you afraid?" Kate asked. Coming to stand beside her, Zari considered the question. "Yes," she admitted, "but not of the danger, not even of the bonding." She turned to look at Kate. "I am afraid of how much I already want this to work, how much I already care about a future with you in it. That is what terrifies me." Kate nodded, understanding in her eyes. "That terrifies me too," she said, "but someone once told me that the best things in life usually do." The ship accelerated, entering the jump point that would take them toward Centauri Prime and whatever waited for them there, a human and a Lyraxian, standing side by side at the beginning of something neither of them fully understood, but both were willing to explore. The next morning ship time, Kate came to Zara's quarters with files and holographic displays. "We need to prepare," she said, setting up a projection system on the small table. "There will be 17 species at the conference, each with their own agenda." Zari watched as images of various aliens appeared in the air between them. She recognized some from her studies, the bulky Taurans, with their 4 eyes and thick gray skin, the elegant Alani whose bird-like features and colorful plumage made them look like walking works of art, the mysterious Vox, who communicated through color patterns that rippled across their translucent bodies. "The Centaurians are hosting," Kate explained, showing an image of a tall, slender being with diamond-patterned skin that seemed to shimmer. "They control the space lanes through 3 sectors. Their permission is needed for any ships traveling through, and the Drazak." Zari asked. Kate's expression darkened as she brought up the image of a heavily armored creature with sharp ridges along its spine and claws that looked capable of tearing through steel. "They will have a small delegation, led by Commander Vex," Kate said. "He is known for his aggressive negotiating tactics." "By aggressive you mean violent," Zari said. "When he can get away with it, yes," Kate admitted, "which is why having someone who can sense emotional states will be invaluable." Zari flexed her 4 hands. My abilities are not perfect. I can sense general emotional states, but specific thoughts are beyond me. Even that will give us an advantage, Kate said. The Drazak want these trade routes for themselves. They believe newer species like humans and Lyraxians should wait another century before being allowed access. Zari shook her head. A century would cripple both our economies. Exactly, Kate said. Which is why this conference is so important, and why the Drazak might try to sabotage it. They spent the next hours studying the other delegates, learning their customs, their taboos, their preferences. Kate was thorough in her preparation. Having been a diplomat for 8 years, she knew that the smallest, mistaken protocol could doom negotiations. By the time they broke for a meal, Zara's head was swimming with information. How do you keep it all straight? She asked, as they sat in the ship's small dining area. Kate smiled. Practice and a good memory. Chip. She tapped the small device behind her ear, standard issue for human diplomats. It stored information and could feed it directly to them when needed. We don't have such technology, Zari said. Lyraxians believe in learning through experience, not artificial means. Different approaches, Kate said. Neither wrong, just different. Their meal was interrupted by an alert from the bridge. Captain Chen's voice came over the comm. We have a situation, she said. Sensors have detected a ship following. As its running dark no identification beacon, Kate and Zari exchanged looks. Pirates, Kate asked. Unknown. Captain Chen replied, but it's matching our course corrections, which means it's following us intentionally. They hurried to the bridge. The main screen showed empty space behind them, but a smaller display showed an energy signature moving in their wake. Cloaking technology, Kate said. Advanced. Captain Chen nodded, her face grim. Few species have cloaking this sophisticated. The Drazak do, Zari said quietly. The captain turned to look at her. You think they'd attack us before we even reach the conference? If they want to prevent us from attending, yes, Kate said. Or they could be planning to follow us all the way to Centauri Prime. To gather intelligence, can we lose them? Zari asked. Captain Chen shook her head. Not without revealing that we know they're there, and possibly not even then. Their ship appears to be faster than ours. Then we continue as planned, Kate decided. But we increase security protocols, no transmissions, and we prepare for the possibility of boarding. Zari felt a chill run through her four-fingered hands. The beginning stages of the bond with Kate made her extra sensitive to the human's emotions. Despite her calm exterior, Kate was worried. Very worried. Back in their quarters, Kate began checking the weapons she'd brought. A small disruptor that could stun most species. A knife made of a material that could cut through almost any armor, and something that looked like a simple bracelet, but Zari suspected was much more. What can I do? Zari asked. Kate looked up. Your people aren't warriors, are they? Not traditionally, no, Zari admitted. We evolved as gatherers and craftspeople, but... She hesitated, before continuing. The bonding process doesn't just link emotions, it can temporarily enhance physical abilities when the bonded pair is in danger. Kate raised her eyebrows. That wasn't in any of the files. It's not something we share widely, Zari said. Such abilities are meant to protect our families, not to be used as weapons. Kate nodded slowly. I respect that. But right now we might need every advantage. Zari moved closer to Kate, feeling the pull of the developing bond. Then we should strengthen it, the bond. Kate asked, her green eyes widening slightly. How? For Lyraxians, bonding grows through shared experiences, shared emotions, and... Zari paused, her purple skin darkening in what Kate had learned was a blush. Physical proximity, Kate smiled and reached out, taking one of Zari's hands. Then we should start right away. The ship continued its journey through space, with an unknown vessel following silently behind them. The next day brought them closer to Centauri Prime, and their mysterious follower remained just outside normal detection range. Captain Chen had implemented evasive maneuvers twice, but the shadow ship adjusted course each time. They definitely know we're here and where we're going, Captain Chen said during the morning briefing. The question is, what do they plan to do about it? We arrive at Centauri Prime tomorrow, Kate said. They can't attack us in Centaurian space. The penalties would be severe. Unless they make it look like someone else did it, Zari suggested. The others looked at her. What do you mean? Captain Chen asked. Zari shifted her weight between her four legs, a nervous gesture. The Drazak are known for false flag operations, attacking under the banner of another species to avoid consequences. Kate nodded. She's right. 2 years ago they raided an Alani outpost but made it look like Tauran pirates. Their ships can modify their energy signatures. Then we need to be ready for anything, Captain Chen said. I've authorized the weapon systems to be fully charged and shields at maximum. As they left the bridge, Zari could feel the tension in Kate's body through their strengthening bond. The human was projecting confidence, but underneath, Zari sensed fear and resolve. You're worried, Zari said when they were alone. Kate sighed. Yes, I am. The Centaurian conference is crucial for Earth and Lyrax. If we don't show up or if something happens to us, it could set back relations for years. Your superiors knew the risks when they sent you, Zari said, and mine when they approved my participation. Kate smiled ruefully. True, but that doesn't make the responsibility any lighter. She looked at Zari, her green eyes intense. How is the bond progressing, Zari? Closed her silver eyes for a moment, focusing inward. It's growing stronger. I can sense your emotions more clearly now. And... She hesitated. I think I could find you anywhere on this ship even with my eyes closed. Is that normal for Lyraxian bonds? Yes. For a beginning bond, it's actually progressing faster than I expected, Zari admitted. Perhaps because of the stress we're under. Or perhaps, she looked away, because there is a natural compatibility between us. Kate reached out, taking one of Zari's hands. I feel it too, not the way you do probably, but there's something there, something I can't explain. The ship's alert system suddenly blared to life. Captain Chen's voice came over the comm. All personnel battle stations, we have incoming, Kate, and Zari rushed back to the bridge. The main screen showed 3 small vessels approaching fast. They separated from the main ship. Captain Chen explained, attack craft, configuration. Kate asked, unknown. The tactical officer replied, but their weapons are powered up. Hail them, Kate ordered. Captain Chen nodded to the communications officer. A moment passed, no response. The officer said, they're firing. The tactical officer called out. The ship rocked as something hit the shields holding, at 90%. Someone reported. Captain Chen took her seat. Return fire. Target their weapon systems only. The Intrepid's weapons fired lancing beams of energy toward the attacking vessels. One of the ships took a direct hit, its trajectory faltering. Direct hit on Vessel 1. The tactical officer reported. Their weapons are offline. The other 2 are circling around. Captain Chen said, trying to flank us. Another volley hit the Intrepid, this time from 2 directions. The ship shuddered more violently. Shields. At 70% came the report. Zari reached out, gripping the console in front of her with her lower hands, while her upper hands remained free, a Lyraxian stance for stability in crisis. Through the bond, she could feel Kate's focused determination. The human was scanning the tactical displays, looking for a pattern. Their attacks are coordinated, Kate said suddenly. They're hurting us. Captain Chen looked at her. Explain. Each attack pushes us in a specific direction. Kate pointed at the display. They're trying to force us off course away from Centauri Prime and toward that nebula. The screen showed a swirling mass of gas and dust in the direction they were being pushed. The nebula would mask our distress signals, Captain Chen realized, and sensor interference would make it harder for anyone to find us. Can we break through their formation? Kate asked. Captain Chen studied the display. Not without risking serious damage. Their positioning is too good. Zari stepped forward. I might have an idea. Everyone turned to look at her. Lyraxians can sense emotional states and intentions even across space. The pilots in those ships must be focused intently on their attack plan. If I concentrate, I might be able to sense what they're planning next. Captain Chen looked skeptical. You can do that at this distance, I can try, Zari said, especially if we can get closer to one of the ships. Kate turned to Captain Chen. It's worth a shot. After a moment's hesitation, the captain nodded. Helm, bring us about course 030 Mark 25. Take us closer to the lead vessel. The Intrepid turned smoothly despite another hit from the enemy ships. As they drew nearer to the lead attacker, Zari closed her eyes and extended her antennae to their full length, concentrating with all her might. The bond with Kate seemed to amplify her abilities. She could feel the humans standing beside her, lending her strength. The world fell away except for the faint glow of mines in the distance. She began, her voice strained. They're waiting for something, a signal. The main ship is going to do something soon, they're just keeping us busy. Scan the main vessel. Captain Chen ordered. Maximum resolution. The tactical officer worked his console, frantically. Captain Im detecting a power surge in the main ship. Its weapons are coming online, but they're much bigger than the ones on the attack craft. Evasive maneuvers. Captain Chen shouted. All power to aft shields. The Intrepid lurched as its engines fired at maximum thrust. The ship barely cleared the area when a massive energy beam cut through space where they had been moments before. That would have cut us in half, the tactical officer said, his voice shaking. The attack craft are regrouping, reported another officer. They're coming around for another pass. Captain Chen turned to Kate. Any ideas, diplomat? Kate looked at Zari, their eyes meeting in silent communication. Through their bond, Zari could feel Kate considering and discarding options. Finally, she felt the human's decision. We need to send a message, Kate said. To the Centaurians, let them know what's happening. Communications are being jammed, the comm officer said, then we'll need to break through. Kate replied, Captain, do we have any probes aboard? 2 standard reconnaissance probes. Captain Chen confirmed. If we load a message into one and fire it toward Centauri Prime at maximum speed, it might get through before they can stop it. And we use the second as a decoy. Captain Chen nodded, appreciating the plan. Tactical, prepare both probes, load emergency protocols and our current coordinates into Probe 1, set Probe 2 to emit our ship signature. The crew rushed to comply as the probes were being prepared. The ship rocked with another hit. Shields at 40%, came the warning. Probes ready, Captain. The tactical officer reported. Launch Probe 1 on heading direct to Centauri Prime. Captain Chen ordered maximum acceleration. A small object shot away from the Intrepid, streaking toward distant Centauri Prime. Enemy vessels are pursuing, the tactical officer said. Now launch Probe 2, Captain Chen commanded. Set course toward the nebula, full signature broadcast. The second probe launched, flying in the opposite direction, its electronic signature mimicking the Intrepid perfectly. It's working, the tactical officer exclaimed. 2 of the attack craft are chasing Probe 1. The main vessel and the remaining craft are following. Probe 2. That won't fool them for long, Kate said, but it might buy us enough time. Helm, set course for Centauri Prime, emergency speed. The Intrepid turned once more, its engines glowing bright as they pushed to maximum output. The ship accelerated, away from the battle, leaving the probes and pursuers behind. For now they had escaped. But Centauri Prime was still a day away, and their enemies were still out there. Hours later, the Intrepid continued its desperate journey toward Centauri Prime. The engineering crew worked tirelessly to repair the damage from the attack. The shields were slowly regenerating but remained at just 60% capacity. Kate and Zari sat in the ship's small conference room reviewing what they knew. It was definitely a Drazak attack, Kate said. The tactics matched their standard operating procedures. But attacking a diplomatic vessel before the conference, Zari shook her head, her antennae drooping with fatigue. It's a major escalation even for them. Which means they're desperate, Kate replied. They must believe this conference is even more important than we thought. Captain Chen entered the room looking exhausted. We've managed to restore communications. We should be able to contact Centauri Prime in about 2 hours when we're closer. Any sign of pursuit? Kate asked. Nothing yet, Captain Chen said. But our long-range sensors are still damaged. We're flying. Partially blind. Zari stood up, her forelegs stiff from sitting too long in the human-designed chair. I need to rest to meditate. If the Drazak attack again, I want to be at full strength. Kate nodded. Go, I'll join you soon. As Zari left the room, Kate turned to Captain Chen. How bad is it really? The captain sighed heavily. Bad if they catch us before we reach Centaurian space. I don't think we can survive another engagement like that. Then we need to make sure they don't catch us. Kate said firmly in her quarters. Zari settled into the meditation posture of her people. Her forelegs folded beneath her, her forearms extended to the sides, palms up. She closed her silver eyes and began the breathing exercises that helped center her mind. As she relaxed into the meditation, she became more aware of her bond with Kate. It glowed in her consciousness like a silver thread connecting them. She could feel the human's determination, her worry, her fierce protectiveness. These emotions were becoming as familiar to Zari as her own. Something else flickered at the edge of her awareness, a distant sensation of danger. Zari focused on it, trying to identify its source. It wasn't coming from the ship. It was somewhere out there in space. Her eyes snapped open. They were still being followed. Kate felt it the moment Zari made her discovery. The bond between them pulsed with alarm. She excused herself from her conversation with Captain Chen and hurried to Zari's quarters. When she entered, she found the Laraxian already up and pacing the small room. They found us, Kate said. It wasn't a question. Zari nodded. Yes, they're behind us, moving faster than we are. They will overtake us before we reach Centaurian space. Kate activated her comm. Captain Chen, this is Morgan. We have reason to believe the Drazak ships are pursuing us and gaining. How much longer until we can send a message to Centauri Prime? 90 minutes at current speed, came the captain's reply. And how long until we reach Centaurian space? Just under 4 hours. Kate and Zari exchanged looks. Can we go any faster? Kate asked. Not without burning out the engines. Captain Chen replied, and even then it would only give us minutes, not hours. Kate took a deep breath. Understood, keep to the plan. We're going to work on alternatives. She turned to Zari. We need options. Zari gestured with all 4 hands, a sign of intense thought among her people. If we can't outrun them and we can't outfight them, we need to outsmart them. The nebula, Kate said. Suddenly, the one they were trying to force us into earlier. What about it? What if we go there voluntarily? Kate activated the room's display showing the star map. It's not that far off our current course and the interference would hide us, but it would also delay our arrival at Centauri Prime. Zari pointed out. Not if we don't stay long. Kate smiled. We go in, they follow us, we hide, then slip out while they're still searching. Zari considered it. It could work, but the nebula is dangerous. Navigation systems would be compromised. Shields would be weakened. It's still better than facing them in open space, Kate said. And maybe, she hesitated, maybe your abilities could help us navigate. Zari looked surprised. How? You said the bond enhances abilities. You can sense them even at this distance. Perhaps in the nebula you could help us avoid the worst areas. Find a path through. Zari stared at Kate. That would require a much stronger bond than what we have now. Kate stepped closer. Then we strengthen it. How? We would need to complete the first stage of the bonding ritual, Zari said, her voice soft. It involves a mental joining, a sharing of thoughts and memories. Is it dangerous? Not physically, no, Zari replied, but it is intimate. Very intimate. And once done, it cannot be undone. It would permanently link us in some ways. Kate took Zara's upper hands in hers. If it gives us a chance to complete our mission to save both our ships and potentially help both our species, then I'm willing. Zari searched Kate's face. You understand what you're offering. This isn't just a temporary connection for Lyraxians. This is the beginning of a lifelong bond. I understand, Kate said, meeting Zari's silver eyes with her green ones. And I choose this, I choose you. Captain Chen was skeptical when they presented their plan. You're suggesting we deliberately enter the nebula, The same one they were trying to force us into. Yes, Kate confirmed. But on our terms we choose where to enter, and how deep to go. And you? The captain turned to Zari. You believe you can help navigate once we're inside? Zari nodded. If Kate and I complete the first stage of our bond, yes. I believe I can sense the safest path. Captain Chen looked back and forth between them. This is highly unorthodox. So is being attacked in neutral space. Kate pointed out, We're out of conventional options, Captain. After a long moment, Captain Chen nodded. Very well. Set course for the Nebula Edge and prepare a message to Centauri Prime explaining our delay. As the captain left to prepare the ship, Zari turned to Kate. We should begin the bonding ritual. It will take time. They returned to Zari's quarters, which had been designed with Laraxian physiology in mind. The lighting was dimmer, more suited to Laraxian eyes. The air slightly more humid. Zari took several small crystals from a pouch and arranged them in a circle on the floor. Please sit across from me, she instructed Kate. These crystals help focus our thoughts. They come from the sacred caves on my homeworld. Kate sat down cross-legged facing Zari. The Laraxian settled into her meditation pose. I will guide us through the process. Zari said, It begins with synchronized breathing. Then I will extend my consciousness toward yours. You only need to be open to receiving it. Kate nodded. I'm ready. Zari reached out, taking Kate's hands in her upper pair while her lower hands rested on the crystals. The stones began to glow faintly as Zari's purple skin took on a luminescent quality. Her antennae extended, fully trembling slightly. Breathe with me, Zari whispered. As they breathed together, the room seemed to fade around them. Kate felt a gentle presence at the edge of her mind, like a question, waiting for permission to enter. Yes, she thought, opening herself to the connection. Suddenly she wasn't just herself anymore. She was also Zari. She could feel the Laraxian's 4 arms, her different center of balance, the sensitivity of her antennae. She could sense the way Zari perceived the world. Through her eyes, Kate saw colors she had never imagined existed, and memories Zari's childhood on a world with 3 moons, learning to weave energy patterns with her 4 hands, the pride when she was selected for the exchange program, the fear and excitement of meeting humans for the first time. In turn, Kate knew Zari was experiencing her memories, her training as a diplomat, her first assignment off Earth, the loss of her partner in a previous mission, the determination that drove her. They floated in this shared consciousness for what seemed like hours or perhaps only minutes. Time had no meaning in this space. Gradually they became aware of the ship again, the vibration of the engines, the soft beeping of equipment, and something else, a sense of direction, a knowing of where safety lay. The bond was complete. The first stage at least, and with it came new awareness. Zari opened her silver eyes, meeting Kate's green ones. Words were unnecessary, they both knew. We need to tell the captain, Kate said finally. We're approaching the nebula. Hand in hand they made their way to the bridge, a new connection linking them stronger than either had expected, and just in time. For ahead of them swirled the massive nebula, a cloud of gas and dust stretching across space, beautiful and deadly, and behind them the sensors had finally picked up their pursuers, the Drazak ships closing fast. The nebula loomed before them, a vast swirling mass of purple and blue gases, shot through with streaks of gold and silver. It might have been beautiful if it wasn't so dangerous. Sensors are already experiencing interference, the science officer reported, and we're not even inside yet. Captain Chen turned to Kate and Zari. If we're doing this, now is the time. Kate nodded. We're ready. She looked at Zari, who stood beside her. The Laraxian's purple skin seemed to shimmer slightly, an effect of their newly strengthened bond. I can sense it, Zari said softly. The currents, the flows. There. She pointed to a spot slightly off their current approach vector. That area is less turbulent. Helm adjust course. Captain Chen ordered. Take us in, where she indicates. The Intrepid turned gracefully, its nose pointing toward the spot Zari had identified. As they approached the edge of the nebula, the view screen automatically adjusted, filtering out the harshest light to protect the crew's eyes. Drazak, vessels still in pursuit, the tactical officer reported. They'll be in weapons range in 10 minutes. Then we'll be in the nebula in 5. Captain Chen said, maintain course and speed. The ship trembled slightly as it crossed the boundary between normal space and the nebula. The lights flickered momentarily as energy patterns from the gas cloud interacted with the ship systems. Shields holding at 58%, came the report. Sensor range reduced by 60%. This is where we need you, Captain Chen said, looking at Zari. The Lyraxian nodded and closed her eyes. Her antennae extended fully, trembling as they sensed the invisible currents around the ship. Through their bond, Kate could feel what Zari was experiencing. The nebula wasn't just gas and dust to her Lyraxian senses. It was a living thing with flows and eddies, dangerous areas where radiation spiked, and safer channels where the ship could pass unharmed. Port 30 degrees. Zari said, her eyes still closed. Then descend 15 degrees relative to our current plane. The helm officer looked to Captain Chen, who nodded. Do it. The Intrepid adjusted course following Zaris' directions. As they moved deeper into the nebula, visibility decreased further. The view screen showed only swirling colors with occasional flashes of light as energy discharges occurred in the gas. The Drazak ships have entered the nebula, the tactical officer reported, but they're having trouble tracking us. Our sensor shadow is minimal in this environment. Good. Captain Chen said, how long until we can execute our exit strategy? Kate checked the navigational display. We need to go deeper. At least another 20 minutes at current speed, then we'll loop around and head out a different way than we came in. Can we manage that? Captain Chen asked Zari. The Lyraxian was focused intensely on her sensory input but managed to nod. Yes, but there are dangerous areas ahead. We must navigate carefully for the next 20 minutes. Zari guided them through the nebula, her instructions coming more rapidly as they entered denser regions. The ship occasionally shuddered as it passed through energy discharges, but the shields held. Kate remained beside Zari, supporting her. Through their bond, she could feel the strain the Lyraxian was under. Each moment of extended sensory perception taxed her strength, but there was also exhilaration. Zari had never used her abilities this way, never stretched them to such limits. The Drazak ships are splitting up, the tactical officer reported. They're searching in a standard grid pattern. Can they detect us? Captain Chen asked. Negative. Their sensors should be as compromised as ours. Good. Now we just need to find our way out. The captain turned to Zari. Can you guide us to an exit point? Preferably one far from where the Drazak are searching. Zari nodded, though Kate could feel her fatigue. There, she pointed to the navigational display. That section has a thinner concentration of gases. It would make a good exit point, and it's nearly opposite to our entry vector. Helm set course. Captain Chen ordered. 1/4 impulse. Keep it slow and quiet. The Intrepid began its careful journey toward the exit point. Zari continued to provide guidance, her voice growing softer as her energy waned. Kate kept her arm around the Lyraxian, supporting her physically, and through their bond. We're approaching the edge of the nebula, the helm officer reported after nearly an hour of careful navigation. Sensors are beginning to clear. Any sign of the Drazak vessels? Captain Chen asked. The tactical officer studied his displays. None in our immediate vicinity. They appear to be concentrated near our entry point, still searching. Perfect. Kate said. Once we're clear, we make a run for Centaurian space. As the ship emerged from the nebula, the view screen cleared, showing normal space ahead. Stars shone brightly against the blackness. The crew let out a collective sigh of relief. Set course. For Centauri Prime. Captain Chen ordered maximum sustainable speed. Course laid in. The helm officer replied, ETA 3 hours 20 minutes. Zari sagged against Kate, her strength finally giving out. The human guided her to a chair. "You did it," Kate said softly. "You got us through." Zari managed a weak smile. "We did it. The bond made it possible." Captain Chen approached them. "That was remarkable navigation," she said to Zari. "I've never seen anything like it." "Thank you, Captain," Zari replied, "but I need to rest now." "Of course," Captain Chen nodded. "We've sent a message to Centauri Prime explaining what happened. They're sending an escort to meet us at the border of their space." Kate helped Zari back to her quarters. The Lyraxian could barely stand, her 4 legs trembling with exhaustion. Once inside, Zari collapsed onto her bed. Her purple skin had lost its usual luster, taking on a grayish tone. "Is there anything I can do?" Kate asked, concerned. "Just stay close," Zari whispered. "The bond needs to stabilize after such intense use." Kate sat beside her, taking one of Zara's hands. "I'm not going anywhere." Through their connection, Kate could feel Zara's exhaustion, but also her satisfaction. They had escaped the Drazak. The mission would continue. And something else had been born between them. Something neither had expected. "What happens now?" Kate asked. "With us. With the bond." Zari turned her silver eyes to Kate. "The first stage is complete. It can never be undone. We will always be connected on some level, but..." She hesitated. "The full bonding has 3 stages. The next steps would be your choice, entirely your choice." Kate smiled gently. "Let's get through this mission first. Then we can discuss the next stages." Zari nodded and closed her eyes, giving in to her need for rest. 3 hours later, the Intrepid approached the border of Centaurian space. As promised, an escort of 3 sleek Centaurian vessels met them, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the light of the nearby star. "The Centaurians welcome us and express concern over the attack," the communications officer reported. "They've also informed the other delegates several species have issued formal protests against the Drazak." "So our mission continues, Captain," Chen said, looking at Kate. "Yes," Kate confirmed. "And perhaps with even more support than before, the Drazak overplayed their hand." The escort surrounded the Intrepid, forming a protective formation as they proceeded toward Centauri Prime. The magnificent, ringed planet grew larger on the viewscreen. Zari stood beside Kate on the bridge, her strength somewhat recovered. Her purple skin had regained most of its luster, though she still moved carefully. "It's beautiful," she said, gazing at the planet. Kate nodded. "Yes, it is. And thanks to you, we'll get to see it up close." "Thanks to us," Zari corrected. "The bond made it possible." "Remember," Kate smiled, "the bond and your courage." As they prepared to enter orbit, Kate took Zari's hand. "Whatever happens at the conference, whatever the future holds for our peoples, know this: I don't regret choosing you, not for a moment." Zari squeezed Kate's hand gently. "Nor I you, even though my species bonds forever." She smiled, her silver eyes shining. "Perhaps especially because of that." The Intrepid entered orbit around Centauri Prime. The diplomatic mission would proceed. The trade routes would be negotiated, and a human and a Lyraxian would face it together. Their unexpected bond proving that different species from across the stars could find connection, understanding, and perhaps something more, as they prepared to transport down to the planet for the opening ceremonies. Kate looked at Zari one last time. "Ready, partner?" Zari nodded, her antennae quivering. With anticipation, ready. Together they stepped onto the transporter pad. Their journey was just beginning.